Thank you very much. First of all, big thank you to Rob and the NSSN for all the great work they do and putting on today, and of course inviting me to return to welcome you to Brighton and Hove. So big welcome to you all. It occurred to me on the way here, I was wearing the same t-shirt when I spoke last year. I just want to make it clear I have taken it off since then, and it's more than likely I've washed it as well. So it was last year I stood here and there was a sense of cautious optimism perhaps with regards to a Labour government taking over the abominable government we had prior to that. But I think the main thing I was getting across was basically a sense of caution. I said that if the Labour government didn't disassociate itself from the previous Conservative governments, there was going to exist a very large vacuum in the political landscape of this country, and I predicted the rise of the far right. And I'm very sorry to say, it comes with no pleasure to say, I think that seems to be coming to fruition. And I think that needs to be at the forefront of our minds this year going forwards as to what we do to combat that rise and what we do to support one another throughout it. We now have the BBC Politics GBB's poster boy Nigel Farage leading, I believe, in probably all of the polls now. And Angela Rayner, who, having led on the Employment Rights Bill, has just been drummed out of her position for dodging £40,000 stamp duty on what is either a second or third home. I can't quite figure out which is shameful. However, what hasn't made the news quite so much is Nigel Farage dodging £44,000 of the same stamp tax duty in an almost identical situation without any great fanfare of criticism, all while he's trying to politically cash in on the chaos regarding Angela Rayner's resignation. So the Employment Rights Bill is a shuffle in the right direction. I think we should note that. We should also be mindful of the fact that the only reason that the Employment Rights Bill is there at all is because of the hard work that the trade union movement's been doing, the TUC as well, and everybody in this room in their own capacity. The right not to be unreasonably dismissed in the first 2 years, I think the key word here is unreasonable. What is surely unreasonable on one day would be unreasonable on any other. It is an important step. However, we need to apply some historical context to some of these changes the bill goes about. So Keir's government is putting forward that the notice period for strike action is being reduced to 10 days from 14. Again, that historical context, Margaret Thatcher made it 7 days in 1984. So a shuffle in the right direction, but heaven knows we've got a long way to go before we start to go back to how things should be. So the biggest shake-up in a generation, I'm not so sure about that. I think we've all been shaken up quite enough over the course of many generations. It's just that none of those shake-ups benefited any of us or our members. And the landscape today, the zeitgeist in the air, flapping in the air, the flags flapping in the air, the zeitgeist. It's even more threatening and authoritarian than it was this time last year. The Met Police alone have arrested over 700 people. The Met Police alone have arrested 700 people for supporting non-violent action, opposing genocide and ethnic cleansing. And the minister responsible for that prescription has just been promoted to Foreign Secretary, so that bodes well, doesn't it? Meanwhile, a famous transphobe instructed 635,000 people on social media to attack strangers, to punch them. Cabinet ministers agreed with JD Vance and Nigel Farage that his arrest for doing that was chilling, and they're talking about changing the law so that people can encourage hundreds of thousands of people to attack people on the basis of them being transgender, which is frightening. The current government also pushed through Conservative government plans regarding policing that will see anyone on noisy or disruptive protests, very subjective words those, noisy and disruptive, they'll be criminalised. And criminalisation is more than just a day in court. It can affect your banking, it can affect job prospects, it can affect you financially, it causes all sorts of problems. All of that just for perhaps making a bit too much noise on a protest. So whether you're in the Labour Party, the Green Party, the Liberal Democrats, or planning a part in the Corbyn Sultana Party project. We need to keep up the pressure for working people to be safe. Safe from dead-eyed social media celebrities encouraging attacks on people, safe from dangerous and unreasonable working conditions, that these people can enjoy a protected right to strike, a protected right to protest, and the protected right to stand up for the vulnerable, stand up against racists, and the right to confront cynical political opportunism and hypocrisy. Now, the narrative that continues to be set is not according to Labour trade union values, but according to the values of the far right. However, this week, Paul Nowak made the case for a progressive wealth tax to erase national debt, fund public infrastructure, and to lift the vulnerable out of poverty. And I think that's in principle something we can all get behind. This was regarding a tax on big banks who, amongst them, 4 of them, in 1 year alone, made £46 billion in profits. So that progressive tax absolutely could lift millions of people out of poverty. It could lift a lot of disabled people out of poverty. It would make a huge difference. No more pensioners shivering throughout the winter without heating, and maybe we can continue to have nice things like libraries and safe maternity services, because currently I understand that more money is paid out by this government in fines and settlements relating to maternity care than is actually invested in delivering service. So, last week Paul said, there is a real danger if the government doesn't deliver the change people want, they will become disillusioned with mainstream politics and some will look for divisive alternatives like reform. And that, I think, brings me full circle to what I was saying at the very beginning. So to round off, I'd usually make a joke about the weather, but it's actually quite nice out, so I'm going to have to tear that bit up. Definitely warn you not to eat where you can see seagulls. That's never going to end well. But mainly to welcome you to Brighton and Hove. It's a fantastic city. It's a very radical and progressive city. We're actually coming up to the 100-year anniversary of the Battle of Lewis Road, where down the road, striking workers on the trams were beaten the hell out of by soldiers on horseback. The Trades Council are involved in a campaign to get a blue plaque up on the site where that took place. So hunt that out and make a donation to it if you're able to. It is nice here, but it's also very expensive. In fact, buying a flat here can cost you a lot more than £800,000.